Good morning, everyone. I'm Mr. David, and this is Friday Storytime at Casson Public Library. Last week, we read a story about President's Day, which featured the presidents on Mount Rushmore. This week, we're going to talk about other founding fathers in the book John, Paul, George, and Ben by Lane Smith. Once there were 4 lads, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. John, Paul, George, and Ben. Make that 5 lads. There was also independent Tom, always off doing his own thing. John was a bold lad. At the start of every school year, the students were asked to write their names on the chalkboard, and every year it was the same story. John, his teacher would say, "You have lovely penmanship. John, your confidence is refreshing. But John, come on. We don't need to read it from space." John Hancock had the largest signature on the Declaration of Independence. Paul was a noisy lad. Before fun was invented, people joined bell-ringing clubs. As a member at Boston's Old North Church, Paul spent hours practicing in the belfry tower. There he is, practicing his bells. Over time, that bell ringing took a toll on young Paul. All day, his head was filled with loud bings and bongs. He had to practically scream just to hear himself talk. Now, that's fine around the belfry, but not at work. Extra large underwear? Sure, we have some. Let's see. Large, extra large. Here they are. Great big extra large underwear. Paul was like a bullhorn in a china shop. Your wig? Yes, it's coming. And your polka dot shirts are coming. And the pink breeches are coming. It took many years and a midnight ride for people to finally appreciate his special talent. The red coats are coming. Everyone except that big underwear lady. She was still mad. George was an honest lad. One day, he took his shiny new hatchet and chopped down his family's cherry tree. When his father discovered the tree, he asked, "Son, do you know who killed this beautiful little cherry tree?" "I cannot tell a lie," answered George. "'Twas I who chopped down this cherry tree." "Then run to my arms, dearest boy," cried his father, "for you have paid me for it 1,000-fold with your honesty." "Really?" said George. "In that case, when I tell you I've taken out the apple orchard, leveled the barn, and made kindling of your carriage, you'll be a wealthy, wealthy man." Ben was a clever lad. Not only did he have a saying for every situation, he generously shared them with anyone, anywhere, at any time. Fish and visitors stink after 3 days. He considered it his duty to provide frequent, free advice. The sleeping fox catches no poultry. Those who in quarrels interpose must often wipe a bloody nose. If your head is wax, don't walk in the sun. 3 can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. The townsfolk were so taken by his generosity They came up with a saying especially for Ben. Please shut your big yap. I like it, said Ben. Short and to the point. Work a fox or turkey in there, and I think you've got something. Tom was an independent lad. One day, his teacher, Mr. Douglas, asked the class to make birdhouses by gluing macaroni to ye old balsa wood. Tom happily ignored him and used traditional building materials in a neoclassical design. So there's what they were supposed to make, and there's what Tom made. When the class made a palm tree, Tom took one look and said, "Not on your life," then quickly left to sketch his own tree. Young Thomas, fumed Teacher Douglas, would you mind explaining to the class why you insist on working so independently? Certainly, said Tom. In fact, I've taken the liberty to list the very reasons. Fear not, sir. I've used small words for the benefit of dullards. Tom learned the power of his words that day. Mr. Douglas told him to pursue all the life, liberty, and happiness he wanted. Independently, in the corner. The other students pursued lunch. The rest is history. Say you want a revolution? Well, John, Paul, George, Ben, and Tom sure did. In April of 1775, they got one. The Redcoats were coming. In fact, King George III's army was marching to Lexington and Concord to arrest John and other sons of liberty. Fortunately, Paul Revere was a noisy man. After his midnight ride, every Minuteman, woman, and child knew who was coming and what they'd be wearing. It was the start of the Revolutionary War. The Americans needed to formally state their separation from the king. Who better than Thomas Jefferson, an independent man, to write the Declaration of Independence? Simply signing such a document was treasonous and dangerous. Ben Franklin, a clever man, said it best. We must all hang together, he quipped, or assuredly we shall all hang separately. One might think twice about signing his name. Not John Hancock. A bold man. He was the first to scribble his autograph, and, man, just look at the size of that John Hancock. In fact, it's become synonymous with a signature today. The war was won thanks to General Washington. Everyone thought he would make a great king for the new United States of America. But George was an honest man. The last thing we need is another King George, he said. President George, however, has a nice ring to it. Ye old epilogue. George didn't live in the White House like all the other presidents. He was asked to live in New York City, where there weren't so many trees.